Hi guys, this video I'll be talking about layer 2 EtherChannel and how to configure the EtherChannels. First, we'll configure the trunks between the three switches, just static trunks, and then between switch 1 and 2, we're going to configure EtherChannel without using any negotiation protocols. Between switch 1 and switch 3, we're going to be using the Cisco's proprietary protocol, which is the port aggregation protocol. And between switch 2 and switch 3, it's going to be using the industry standard protocol, which is the link aggregation control protocol. So let's start with the configuration of the trunks, starting with switch 1. Right, switch 2. Right, finally switch 3. Right, the trunks configured. We can even configure the trunks after creating the port channels. So personally, I like to configure the trunks beforehand, but you can do that afterwards as well. When you configure them afterwards, you can even use the port channels to create the trunks. So in this case, the trunks have been created. Let's just double check. Right, we have them here. So now moving on with the configuration of the EtherChannels. So like I said, so between switch 1 and 2, we'll be using no negotiation protocol. So let's start with switch 1. So let's use show CDP neighbors just to check which interfaces are connected to switch 2. We have Ethernet 00 and 01. Right, so the command we'll use to configure the Ether channel is channel group, and the port channel number we're going to use is going to be 1, 2. So configuring on switch 1, the first digit is 1, and the switch on the far end is 2. So we just name it 12, and we'll obviously use the same port channel number when we configure the same Ether channel on switch 2 as well. So channel group 12 mode, and in case of no negotiation, we're going to just use on. And do the same on switch 2. So show CDP neighbor just to see the interface is connected to switch 1. We have Ethernet 00 and 01. So channel group, we've already created this channel group on EtherChannel on switch 1, so we use the same port number 12 and mode on. So just to see now the EtherChannel, if it's coming up, the command we use is show EtherChannel summary. Right, the information is given us here is that the port channel number is 12. We've configured it as, SU indicates as layer 2 EtherChannel, and U is up, and the ports configured in it, bundled in it, are Ethernet 00 and 01. So just double checking on switch 1 as well. Show EtherChannel summary. Right, the EtherChannel is up, and the ports are Ethernet 00 and 01. So that's the EtherChannel configured between switch 1 and 2. Now we're going to be configuring EtherChannel between switch 1 and 3, but we're going to use now the Cisco's proprietary protocol, which is the port aggregation protocol. So let's go back on switch 1. So again, looking at show CDP neighbors, we have Ethernet 02 and 03 connected to switch 3. So let's configure that now. So channel group. So in this case, the port channel number we're going to use is going to be 13, because the switch we're configuring on is 1 and the switch on the far end is 3. So we use the port channel number 13 and mode. So in this case, for port aggregation protocol, we have auto and desirable, exactly the same as dynamic trunking protocol. I showed you guys in the video that desirable is the interface that's actively negotiating to form the trunk. Auto is the passive one. So in this case, again, the desirable will be the active interface that's going to be actively negotiating to form the ether channel, and auto will be the passive one. So as in this exercise, switch 1 is the active interface, so we're going to use desirable. And on switch 3, we'll be using the auto. Show CDP neighbors. We have the first two interfaces connecting to switch 1. So interface range switch 1. So channel group will be 13 again. And mode, like I said, in this case we're going to use auto. Right guys, the ether channel should be coming up. So guys, in this case, exactly the same as the dynamic trunking protocol. If we have desirable on one switch and on the other switch we have desirable or auto, the ether channel will be formed. But if you have auto on both switches, the ether channel will not be formed. Exactly the same as the DTP. So let's just have a look at the show ether channel summary command, see if the port channel is up, and it has come up. But in this case, the protocol is listed as port aggregation protocol, whereas the one we configured between switch 1 and 2, it was blank. So we've named it as port channel number 13. SU indicator, this layer 2 ether channel is up. The ports bundled in it are Ethernet 00 and 01. And we should see the same thing on switch 1. Right, this one we can see that the port is up. Again, the protocol is port aggregation protocol, and the ports bundled in it are Ethernet 02 and 03. So another command we can use just to double check which switch is using active interfaces and which one is using passive. We can use show ether channel. The number is 13 and port channel. Right, we can just double check. So we configured switch 1 interfaces as desirable, So this command is useful just to check that information. And similarly on switch 3, you can use the same command. So show EtherChannel 13 port channel. And we configure the switch 3 interfaces as automatic. So just double check that. It's a good command to see that. Right, so now moving on to the EtherChannel configuration between switch 2 and 3. This one will use the industry standard, which is the link aggregation protocol. This standard is defined in IEEE 802.3AD, and this one will start off with switch 2. So Ethernet 02 and 03 connected to switch 3. So let's configure them. Root. So the port number we're going to use for this one will be 23, because the switch we're configuring is switch 2, and the switch on the far end is 3. So we'll use 23. Mode. And link aggregation control protocol uses active and passive. So the names are very self-explanatory. So active will be the interface or the ether channel that will be actively negotiating to form the ether channel, and passive will be passive. So we're gonna configure switch 2 as the active one, and we'll configure switch 3 as passive. So let's wait for the channel to come up. In the meantime, we can configure switch 3. So channel group port number will still be 23. The port channel number will be used on switch 2. And mode, like I said previously, we're going to use passive on switch 3. Right guys, so we formed the ether channels on the switches. Let's just double check whether they've come up correctly or not. Show ether channel summary. So the one we just created now on the port channel number 23 is the protocol listed link aggregation control protocol, and it's layer 2. Alright guys, so like I said, so the port channel is up. The protocol in this case is link aggregation control protocol, and the ports connected to switch 2, Ethernet 02 and 03 are bundled in this ether channel. And let's just check on switch 2 as well. So show ether channel summary. Right, the port channel number 23 is up, link aggregation control protocol, and Ethernet 02 and 03 interfaces, the ones that connect in switch 3 are bundled in it. So once again, we can use the command to check which interfaces were configured as active and which ones were configured as passive. So show ether channel 23 channel. Right, on switch 2 we configure the interfaces 02 and 03 as active, and we can use the same command on switch 3 to check how it was configured. So we just double check that it was configured as passive. So we can see, well, the ether channels have been configured correctly. Switch 1 and switch 2, we configure them without any negotiation. Switch 1 and switch 3, we configure them with the Cisco's proprietary port aggregation control protocol. And switch 2 and 3, we configure the using the industry standard, the link aggregation control protocol. So another thing, just to show you guys, if we use the command show interface as trunk, now the interfaces have been bundled into ether channels. So the switch is showing us the logical interfaces as opposed to the physical interfaces, the ones that are forming the trunk. So if you want to see which interfaces are bundled in these ether channel, you can just use show ether channel summary. Support ether channel port channel 12 is configured of 00, Ethernet 00 and 01. And when we look at the trunks, it's just going to show us the port channel number 12, and port channel 13 is successfully trunking. And if we're going to show which ports are bundled in it, using this command, show Ethernet channel summary, shows us that Ethernet 02 and 03 are bundled in it. And show interfaces, show IP brief, sorry. We can check that the port channels 12 and 13 are up. That's another way you can just check whether the port channels are up. And yeah, it's all looking good. So just a quick recap, guys. We first we configure the trunks, static trunks between the 3 switches. And as I mentioned, you can create the trunks before the ether channels or afterwards. It's not a problem. And if you create the trunks afterwards, you can even use the port channels to create the trunks. So between switch 1 and 2, we didn't use any negotiation protocols. So the mode, we use mode on both switch 1 and 2. Switch 1 and 3, we use the Cisco proprietary port aggregation protocol, and between switch 2 and 3, we use the industry standard, which is the link aggregation control protocol. So that's pretty much it, guys. Any questions, comments, post them below, and I'll answer as many as I can. Thanks, man.